Speaking of dogs, Michigan catching 5.5 at Oklahoma.
Jumping up.
Whoa.
What happened? Like
Whoa.
that moved a lot. It's
Moved significantly.
Can I just say, like, this game to me is so exciting, and with the similarities between these two programs, right? Last year, like, a lot of change happened. So Oklahoma moved in the SEC. Michigan, obviously, with Jim Harbaugh, you have that whole cloud of the NCAA and Connor Stalions issue, like, just kind of overshadowing, like, your whole season, essentially, last year, even though it wasn't too much special to write home about. And now you get a resurgence, right? You get a new quarterback, right? A lot of fun there, returning talent on defense. And now you get to play each other, man. It's going to be so much fun. I expect like a lot of physicality in this game. Like one thing I was so impressed, like with these two teams, even though they were losing games last year, they still brought it and they still had a lot of physicality on both those sides of the ball. So it'll be really interesting. I'm pumped to see like the new look teams. Like, do we see explosive plays? How many of them? Who's making them? What like the quarterbacks and their dynamic plays, ways to extend the ball or extend the play, and throw the ball down the field. You've got talented running backs. I mean, holy cow! I cannot wait.
Yeah. John Mateer looked really good in his first game with Ben Arbuckle at Oklahoma. Bryce Underwood, I thought also looked pretty decent too. Justice Haynes, what do you have, 156 yards on 16 carries, 3 touchdowns? I mean, a guy.
Bama
Boy,
fans just cringing right now.
Bama
Just
fans
cringing.
and we're going to talk about Boston College here in a minute. Cringing watching Dylan Lonergan go crazy. But for this game, I mean, I looked at both these rosters, and I think that this is a very key year for one, both coaches, for two, both teams, because I think that both of these teams are talented enough to make the college football playoffs, right? With the remaining, look at your schedule. Like, you play some tough games. For both of these teams, this feels like a must-win game if the college football playoffs is ultimately your goal. And I know, like, nationally, people might not be thinking, oh, Oklahoma, like, you have them in the college football playoffs. I don't have them in the college football playoffs. I'm just saying, like, that's the kind of level of talent we're talking about, like the level of team. And
An
in that
expectation
building,
of that program.
yeah, the expectation of that program. Not to mention, like, I'm sorry, John Mateer is what now, plus 1,300 to win the Heisman? So yeah, expectations are a little bit high. Gross number that we're picking here, 5.5. I think I would have rolled with Oklahoma at 2.5. I think I still actually will roll with Oklahoma. I'll take them to win. I'll take Oklahoma minus 5.5. I do think Oklahoma with a healthy wide receiver room, another year, and a team that's confident in their quarterback, I think they're a team to look out for here. Now, of course, Michigan, on the other hand, extremely talented at a ton of levels of the ball. Offensively, we saw what they did against New Mexico. I don't love their wide receiver room. I think it's fine. I think it's okay. I love Justice Haynes in that running back room. I think these two running backs are arguably more talented than the ones that they had last year, which is a wild thing to say. Bryce Underwood, just implanting him in this offense just makes your team so much better. The ceiling of your team is so much better. And they're still going to be really solid on the defensive side of the ball with everything that they have at all those levels, even losing, your 3 best defensive linemen from a year ago. And you still have the best, probably one of the best linebacking cores in the entire country. I'm going to roll with Oklahoma here, minus 5.5 at home. Don't feel great about it. Would have felt a lot better about it at 2.5.
Yeah, it's really interesting. I am worried about Bryce Underwood, like traveling on the road. I know it's like okay, yeah, young quarterback traveling on the road, but it is something like to worry about. Like we saw how many quarterbacks go on the road this week 1 and struggle a little bit, especially if they were new to that position of being like the guy on their team. I also think like Bryce Underwood is kind of like the kind of guy that just like, he's got that it factor. So like I'm not too worried about that in terms of him absolutely imploding. But it will be interesting. Like, and the other thing too, the coaching matchups, right? So Wink Martindale, defensive coordinator from Michigan, versus Ben Arbuckle, offensive coordinator for Oklahoma. Those chess pieces are going to be a lot of fun to watch when Oklahoma has the ball. And then Michigan has the ball. You got Chip Lindsey, Sharon Moore versus Brent Venables, right? And his defense there at Oklahoma. It's really interesting. I'm going to take
What do you
Michigan.
trust more?
Ooh. I love Martindale, and I do like Martindale.
It's tough.
Yeah, I'd probably have to lean Oklahoma's staff.
Which is wild, even though they have Chip Lindsey and Wink Martindale on that side.
Yeah, I'm probably leaning Oklahoma.
But is that
Sharon
more
Moore
of a testament? Is that
be
more of a testament to how high you are on Ben Arbuckle? Like
the Arbuckle Mateer stack is awesome, and the health of Keontae Lewis and Deion Burks was very exciting. That was what I love to see, and they didn't even try to run the ball, which was really interesting. Like, are they saving Jaden Knott? Like, I was looking around trying to find answers about why their running backs didn't get a ton of play, and I couldn't find a definitive answer that I trusted. So I'm not sure on that. We'll have to see. Something is telling me, though, to take Michigan plus 5.5. I just feel like potential backdoor cover is totally in play. I think an outright win is absolutely not off the table. The only thing I'm worried about is outside of Klein, who's the tight end, and stop me if you've heard this before from Michigan. Outside of the tight end, who do they have at receiver that can separate against Oklahoma? I don't know. Like, that is a concern, I think. Absolutely. Very right to be concerned about that. The other thing, too, on the other side of the ball, just Jayshon Barnum, like, being ejected off of a pretty terrible call of targeting. He's going to miss the first half for them. He's a stud linebacker for them. They've got talent and depth at that spot, so I'm not too worried. But he's a big-time playmaker, and he will be missed, obviously, in that first half. New Mexico, too, like, yes, if you look, like, it was a game in that second half, but Jason Eck is awesome. Like, I think people
so
have to inflate, like, people do not inflating enough of what New Mexico can do to you offensively with their schemes and trick plays and all that stuff that they did. So that's just part of the Jason Eck experience, which you'll come to learn at New Mexico, which we tried to tell you about back in February, March, or whenever we were doing those breakdowns of the coaches for New Mexico. But yeah, man, it just feels like Michigan plus 5.5. Even though everything is telling me, like, personnel wise, matchup wise, take Oklahoma, but I got Michigan 5.5. Gut feeling, call it.
New Mexico turned the ball over 5 times. Still scored 17 points. Held Michigan to 34.
That's a little concerning about
That's
not
crazy.
capitalizing on the interceptions. That's definitely something to worry about.
Yeah, which is crazy. I mean, 6 of 13 on third down. It's not like they're actually probably pretty similar to Oklahoma, in terms of third down, fourth down efficiencies. Both teams were penalized a pretty decent amount in their opener, so like that'll be interesting. I'm sure they'll have. You think it'll be? What kind of crew will it be there? It probably won't be an SEC crew, would it be?
I'm not sure.
Maybe that could play factor in margins as tight as these, but for honestly, like how bad we've seen quarterback play in the SEC so far in terms of like some teams and their expectations. Taylor Green was great. Obviously, Diego Pavia was great. Austin
Lagway
Simmons was
looked
pretty
good.
Lagway looks. I mean, those were all against like FCS teams. Same thing with John Mateer. He looked good as well. But I know the SEC has been getting rocked by the Big Ten pretty recently. But I just like Oklahoma in this spot. Sue me. Now here's the thing: Bryce Underwood with 10 games under his belt.
Yeah.
Different story for me. Different story. It would be hard not to take Michigan plus 5.5.
What I will say too is, like, fast forward to Monday, right? If Michigan does win, like, to me, it changes my outlook on Michigan a whole heck of a lot more than it would change my outlook on Oklahoma if Oklahoma were to win. Now, assuming it's not some crazy blowout or some injuries happen, right? Let's just call it a typical 1-score, 2-score game, whatever it may be, something realistic. If Michigan wins, goes on the road, Bryce Underwood looks good because he has to look good to win this game. That's a really, really dangerous squad there in the Big Ten, and that could be really interesting to watch. And Oklahoma obviously you talked about it being feels like a must-win game for both these, and it could be with the way momentum goes and all that kind of stuff building. But Oklahoma can still do a lot of things if they do lose. But if they do win too, I mean, that's obviously gonna bolster them into their SEC play. But yeah, if Michigan win here, I don't think the world's ready for that. If Michigan beats Oklahoma the week after Ohio State beats Texas, yeah, not ready for it.